Hello there, this is a very quick video of the new Deadpool movie which is just out in the UK and is released on Friday in America. I saw it last night and I've got to say it's terrific, it's really good. It's a nicely surprising movie because it's not really like what the trailer suggested. The trailer suggested basically a movie was a live action cartoon that had gags all the time. The movie does have a lot of gags, but there's a lot more going on in it than actually just those like scenes in the motorway, basically the highway. That's why you ever saw the trailer. That's really the first 10 minutes, I think. I mean, basically, most of the stuff you see in the trailer comes early on in the film, with a couple of little bits from later, but nothing major from later. I mean, basically, once you got beyond the first 10 minutes of the film, you realise you've seen most of the trailer. So for the rest of the movie where you haven't seen that much of it, you've seen little bits and bobs but not really that much of the action or the character stuff. So it's quite good that way where they kept a lot out of the trailers, even though there are tons of trailers. But basically the idea of the movie is you always start with like 2/3 of the way through the story and you flash back to actually find out, so you start with Deadpool hunting down this guy called Ajax who created Deadpool, really, and he's out for revenge. So the beginning of it, you see him attacking this caravan of cars, and he just takes them out pretty much straight away. But a lot of fun. And then you start flashing back, you can see the creation of Deadpool, basically see him as Wade Wilson, who falls in love, then gets cancer, then gets offered a cure, which turns out not to be quite the case. It's actually a facility that's trying to create and sell mutants to the highest bidder. He escapes from there and goes on a revenge spree. The villains get his girlfriend and he has to go and rescue her. That's basically the plot. I mean, the plot's like you can write in the back of an envelope. The plot's very simple. I mean, you've seen it a million times. There's been like a billion, not a billion, but a lot of like direct-to-video movies with that kind of plot of guy goes out to get his girl back from the villains. But that's not what's great about the film. So the film takes the mickey out of this plot and it doesn't take it knows it's a cliched plot. So it takes the mickey out of it, but at the same time it takes it seriously enough to actually use what's strong about the basic plot tenets, which is it's a very basic story of a guy knocked down and get himself back up and saving his girl. It takes what's basic, what appeals to people about it, but also it takes the mickey out of the fact that it's been done a million times, which is actually one of the good things about the film is the fact that it's self-aware but it's not cynical, which is a kind of bizarre thing because the character of Deadpool is very cynical and he's a hired killer and he's not a nice guy at all. Even before he gets changed, he's viewed as he's a mercenary and he does a lot of stuff and he's not the nicest of people. He's not the worst, but he's not the nicest either. He's just one of those like kind of film noir character who's shady and going to come to a bad end. So but they use every little cliche they've got there. Even that's a cliche, but they twist everything a little bit. So even though he's a hard killer, he's very funny about it and he's got a sense of humour about himself and what he's doing. And the romance, you basically, it's a romance but it's atypical because they, instead of having a leading lady who spouts all this romantic nonsense, she's as cynical as he is, and they kind of meet up because they've both been so messed around by life, and that starts the connection going and it builds from there. So she's kind of able for him and she doesn't take any of his guff. And that's what works because it's funny, the character's very human, so even though no one's a hired killer, you can connect with the general interaction between them, you can see them as human beings. So whatever else happens after that, you've got that base, which is good. It only takes about 10 minutes to do and they actually set it up and they know the fact that the audience does not want to sit for half an hour of this kind of stuff, they just want the setup. They do the setup so well that you get the impact through the whole movie because you kind of want to make sure you actually are invested in the fact that he's going to try and save her at the end. rather than knowing you should be but you're not really because the character's so vague. This one actually pays enough attention to character so you actually feel that invested in it. So that's good. The fact they actually use the characterization as something that will keep people involved in what is a very silly film. And from then on, because you're invested enough in the character, when he goes to when he gets cancer, he reacts like a normal person reacts. Like, he doesn't act like it's easy to solve. He knows he's dead. He's waiting for death. He's trying to get away from his girlfriend so he doesn't have to watch him die, which is a much more human reaction from what you'd normally get in this kind of movie. So it's not overly brave, but it's very reasonable. So all these little details add up because the people who the film are behaving reasonably. So yeah, so people are friends, but they only do so much to their friends because it takes a very realistic base for these friendships. Is we'll go so far, we'll help you out, but we're not going to get killed for you. Which is quite nice that they actually go in that direction. So it's everything very grounded, even though they're taking the mick out of it, but they're still grounded. I mean, the one film I did this before, I thought was the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is probably a better film than Deadpool. But Deadpool, they seem to they've definitely watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and making this film because they're going for that same kind of mix of like realism from the characterization mixed with the genre aspects. Because Kiss Bang Bang had a slightly better plot, but Deadpool's not looking for that kind of plot anyway, so it doesn't matter. They're both really enjoyable films. So by the time you get to genre stuff in Deadpool in the main story, you're invested. So when he gets the treatment, it turns him into Deadpool, and they go full horror with it, and it is quite disturbing to watch because you're invested enough in the character to know this is horrible. And they don't hold back with the kind of, because an R-rated film, they don't hold back with how ugly it gets and how horrifying it is. At the same time, there's a sense of humour about it, so that there's still enough distance so you can enjoy it. They never go too far, but they are very careful how they put the character information in, and the horror stuff in, so that you actually do get affected by it. So after it becomes Deadpool, it gets broader. But the cool thing is, you still see the character Wade Wilson under Deadpool, and he takes the mask off a lot. So there's two kind of characters. There's the put on Deadpool character, which is when he puts the mask on, he's much more irreverent and he's much more key into the fact he's a movie character. When the mask's off, he's more realistic. For the beginning, it's a bit confusing, but once you get into the film, it feels right. It just feels like it also creates this thing the character is that it means the character can go on to other films where. Because you've got a human side of him and you've got basically a side where he's basically Bugs Bunny with guns. Because I mean, he's funny as hell with Deadpool, does all these slapstick stuff. It's not just one-liners, it's like a lot of gags. When he's fighting people, there's tons of gags where he's the butt of the joke most of the time. I mean, they really take the mick out of him a lot. I mean, one character has no time for him, just thinks he's not very funny. And that kind of thing, you did really enjoy the fact that they have a character in the movie that is not impressed by the lead character, who's the selling point in the movie. There's lots of little things like that in film that really pushes it forward because it makes it feel interesting to watch. Because they really pay attention to the small things as well as the big picture. Now, also the good thing with the film is it's ultimately very much a side story. I mean, basically, the world's not going to end in this film. It's a grudge between two people. The guy created Deadpool and Deadpool. And Deadpool's winning this fight by annoying the hell out of this guy but not taking him seriously. Which is another really funny dynamic, is like, the guy gives himself a name Ajax, and Deadpool will not call him Ajax, he'll call him Francis, which is his real name. Just to annoy him. And this goes on, and it just gets funnier and funnier. And the guy can't win, he's just going nuts because that guy's so annoying. And they really keep that with Deadpool, he's so annoying to some people. There's gags galore. I mean, I'm not going to say any more about the plot, I don't want to give everything away, but you can see where it's going to go. You're not really meant to not know where it's going to, but the little things it does within that structure is what makes it work. It's like, you know, a lot of beats are going to happen because they've set it up and they're taking the mick out of it at the same time. That's I mean, you've seen the trailers, you know the basic beats, the story. It's just how they tell the story and the little details. I mean, they've got two X-Men in it, and the two male characters, but they're very specific to interacting with Deadpool. So they've one's got Boy Scout and one's just not interested in him at all, and just wants to get it over with. Basically, it's like this is a mission for the day. She wants to get it over so she can go back home. She does not want to deal with this guy at all. Another one's I try to teach him to become an X-Man and he's not interested. So there's lots of humour just for character interaction. And that really pays off throughout the movie because they've in it in little bits throughout the whole movie. Most of the characters come back and are spread out through the movie, so it's always it's never really Deadpool by himself for very long. It's always Deadpool interacting with people, which makes it good because there's always character stuff going on pretty much every scene. So the film just really works. I mean, they ignore X-Men Wolverine apart from jokes about it and jabs at it. They completely ignore the backstory and suggest that Deadpool has lost track of the timelines himself and he's just given up trying to work out where he is in the timeline of X-Men because it's been so jumbled at this point. So that's to take the mickey out of the X-Men timelines and they take Mickey out of everything about the X-Men. I mean, he shows, after all the attacks in the X-Mansion, Deadpool shows up and knocks on the door, which is a really funny scene because it's like, it's one thing you haven't seen in X-Men, like a mutant showing up and just knocking on the door and just asking them for help. It's just really funny how they do that. And there's lots of these little details throughout the movie, so it's just really fun. I mean, the big thing he's going for is Ryan Reynolds has actually found the part that actually works for him in the mainstream audience. He's one of those actors that has never really connected with the mainstream, but he always seems to be good in like smaller parts, like films like Adventureland, he played a very small part, but he was really good in it. And he always seems to be good in the smaller parts and the indie films. And then when they try to make a leading man, because he's good looking, they bland him out and he's just not quite right. It's like they've cut off so much of his natural character that it doesn't work. And this kind of suggests maybe it's better to put him in slightly darker films. They can be mainstream, but give him that darkness and he seems to work a lot better because he can be sarcastic, but also the emotions, it can be more sincere with it's a bit darker. Because you can feel when he's in his later films that he doesn't quite believe what he's doing sometimes because you can tell that it's just make-believe. So this is probably a good suggestion of where to place in the future, just to actually just give him parts that are a bit slightly darker within the mainstream and probably work better for him. Because he's one of those actors who also has a lot of potential, but he's never been placed very well, and it's quite a shame because he does have talent, but it's always been one of those things, how do you place him? There's a lot of films he's made just haven't worked because he's been slightly miscast. And this is the first time it's like, oh yeah, now this is how you use him. So hopefully they'll get the message of how you use him from now on and actually use him properly. And he really carries the film because he knows exactly what the film is, and he knows what tone it has to be because he can switch between different actors. Like some actors he can be a real smart arse with, other actors he's more comic book with. But he's always switching, he's always jumping back and forward between the Wade Wilson and Deadpool, because one's a person and one's a cartoon. And they're two different things. Puts the mask on, he's a cartoon. Takes it off, he's a person in an extreme situation. So that really works. So it's one of those performances as a character that really work because he knows what he's doing, and it's very specific, so he's very clear about what the character needs to be. So it's one of those times when you see an actor play a comic book character, like, that's it, that's how you do it. So it's definitely a really good, solid film. I mean, it's probably the most entertaining comic book movie since Guardians of the Galaxy. I like a lot of other ones, but this one seems to work better because it's clear and it's a small movie. And you can hope if they do the sequels they'll keep it R-rated and keep the budget down, because it seems to work better without tons of special effects. It just needs him interacting with people to work. So that's really what it needs. So hopefully they'll keep in that direction when they do the sequel, because what they've got works. They don't need to reinvent it, they just have to continue in this path and it'll work, and you probably get quite a few movies out of it if they actually just keep the budget down and keep it R-rated and keep keep to the stories rather than trying to spend a fortune to make it look cool. Because it won't work this character because it takes to make that stuff anyway. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back next week with some other stuff. But The Damned will be out today or tomorrow, so which will be with the Superman films. So bye for now.